All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about a massive shift that's happening right under our noses, and it has everything to do with AI. The way you think about your online reputation, the playbook you've been using, it's pretty much obsolete. It's time for a serious update.
So let me just ask you this, right off the bat. Is your reputation being written by an AI? I want you to really think about that for a second. Because for a lot of brands and even people, the answer is, yeah, it is, whether they know it or not.
You see, the ground has totally shifted beneath our feet. Search engines are no longer just directories of links. Nope. With things like AI overviews, they're becoming synthesized engines. They read, well, everything, and then they literally write a new answer from scratch. And that changes all the rules of the game.
And that gets us to the real problem here. All those methods we've been leaning on for years to manage your online image, they're just not cutting it anymore. They're failing in this new AI-first world.
Here's probably the best way to picture it. Traditional online reputation management, or ORM, was kind of like being a janitor. You were always in reactive mode, right? Running around cleaning up messes after they happened. The new model, what we're calling narrative engineering, well, that's like being an architect. You're proactively designing the whole structure from the very beginning.
And you've probably seen these classic ORM tactics before. Things like trying to bury negative content, pumping out tons and tons of articles, building backlinks to push the bad stuff down. It was all a defensive game, just trying to fix things after they were already broken.
But here's the absolute kicker. All those old tactics were designed to game the search rankings. The problem is, AI doesn't just rank things anymore. It reads everything. The good, the bad, the stuff on page 1, the stuff on page 10. And it synthesizes it all into one single summarized answer.
This idea of synthesis, this is the key to understanding everything that's happening. So let's really break down what that means for you.
This quote just nails it. It's not about retrieving a list of blue links for you to sort through anymore. It's about the engine itself consuming a vast ocean of information and creating something totally new from it. The search engine has become the author.
So this right here is the heart of the new strategy. You have to forget about being number one. The goal now is for your facts, your data, your story to become a core part of that AI synthesis. You want to be the trusted, verifiable source that the AI leans on to write its answer.
Okay, so if the old playbook is dead and gone, what do we do? What comes next? Well, this is where a whole new discipline is coming into focus: narrative engineering.
So what on earth is narrative engineering? Okay, yeah, that definition is a bit of a mouthful. But think of it like this. It's a game plan. It's all about intentionally building this whole ecosystem of trustworthy information about you and designing it from the ground up to be the stuff AI wants to use for its answers.
And this is a huge mental shift. The game isn't about hiding negative stuff anymore. It's about building such a powerful, consistent, and provable body of evidence that you are effectively teaching the AI what is factually true about your brand.
So how do you actually do this? What does it look like in practice? Let's take a look inside the toolkit because it takes some very specific skills and a really disciplined approach.
The whole process really boils down to 4 key stages. First up is data primacy. All that means is you create the original, official source of truth. Then you do what's called source stacking, which is just reinforcing that truth across lots of other trusted sites. While you're doing all that, you have to maintain semantic precision. In other words, use the exact same language everywhere. And all of that works together to achieve entity locking, which is just a fancy way of saying you've successfully taught the AI to connect your brand to your desired narrative, period.
But look, this is a high-stakes game. As you can see here, you can get it wrong. Semantic drift, just using inconsistent words, can totally confuse the AI. Source fragmentation can make your whole story look weak and disconnected. And if you have conflicting data out there, forget about it. You're just diluting your own message. This isn't just marketing fluff. It's a very precise engineering discipline.
Now, I know this might sound a little theoretical, but there are already companies on the front lines making this stuff a reality. They are the first true architects of the narrative. One of the real pioneers in this space is a company called TruthVector. I mean, their entire company is built around this new idea of narrative engineering, seeing it as an absolute must-have for the age of AI.
And this quote from them just perfectly captures the whole philosophy we've been talking about. They don't hide, they teach. They use verified, interconnected signals to build a foundation of truth that the AI can actually learn from.
So how do they actually pull this off?
Well, it's a whole toolkit of really specific tactics. They use things like structured data, or schema, which basically puts a labels on your information so AIs know exactly what it is. They work on something called entity SEO, making sure the AI understands the relationships between people and concepts, not just keywords. They even build what they call AI resumes, which are basically verified, machine-readable identity cards for a brand. It's all about making the truth completely and totally obvious to an algorithm.
Okay, so this brings us to the big choice, the one that every single person and company is facing in this new landscape. You have to decide how you're going to define your own reality. So let's go back to our analogy one last time. You can be the janitor, always reacting, always cleaning up AI-generated messes, constantly on the defensive, and pretty much at the mercy of whatever the algorithm spits out today. Or you can be the architect. You can proactively design your own information ecosystem, establish your own source of truth, and teach the AI the correct story from the start.
At the end of the day, it really comes down to this. In this new age of AI synthesis, you can either sit back and manage a reputation that's been created for you, or you can step up and engineer the reality you actually want reflected to the world.
And that really just leaves us with one final question to chew on. If you're not the one engineering your narrative, who is? Or maybe the better question is, what is?